Exploration and discovery have been a part of American history since the 15th century, and no expedition was as influential in shaping the United States as Meriwether Lewis and William Clark. Now, if you read the sentence again, you will immediately realize that it sounds correct, but there is a mistake. There is a comparison mistake. Let's read the sentence again. I'll read it from here. And no expedition was as influential in shaping the United States as Meriwether Lewis and William Clark. So we are basically comparing expedition to two human beings. That is wrong. Compare expedition to expedition and human beings to human beings. So A is definitely wrong. Let's have a look at option choice B. And no expedition was as influential in shaping the United States than Meriwether Lewis and William Clark. This is also wrong. Why? Because we have a word pair as well. As is used with as. Please remember this. So we can easily eliminate B and C because both of these options contain the word than. D has as. Let's have a look at this. And no expedition was as influential in shaping the United States as the expedition led by Meriwether Lewis and William Clark. Now the comparison is right. We are comparing expedition to an expedition. The answer is option choice D. Moving on. In 1803, they set out to find an all-water route to the Pacific Ocean. The purchase of the Louisiana Territory that year had opened vast lands for settlement. Under orders from President Thomas Jefferson, Lewis Clark and their group of woodsmen, hunters and translators not only blazed a trail into the wilderness, we have a clue here, not only blazed a trail into the wilderness, and they spent 3 years making their way across the internet. It's a word pair question, and not only is used with but also and not with and. Please be careful. So option choice A is wrong. Option choice B and C both contain the word and, so you can easily eliminate these two options as well. So we are left with one option. It should contain but also, and yes, it does. Let's read the sentence again. And translators not only blazed a trail into the wilderness but also spent 3 years making their way across the continent. It makes perfect sense. So you see, whenever I choose an answer, I plug it back into the phrase to see whether it makes sense or not. That is very important. Always remember this, and please abide by this rule. Next question. Meteoroids are the smallest members of the solar system, ranging from large chunks of rock and metal to minuscule fragments no larger than a grain of sand. Whenever you have a comparison, you use than, T-H-A-N. Please remember that this is wrong. And this is pretty simple. The answer should be option choice B. Whenever a meteoroid plows into the Earth's atmosphere, it creates a meteor, a very brief flash of light in the sky. Millions of meteors occur in the Earth's atmosphere daily. Just as many meteoroids appear in the atmosphere during daylight as appear at night. However, meteors are usually observed after dark when faint objects can more easily be identified. Now, this is definitely a comparison question, and we have a word pair as well. Just as many meteoroids appear in the atmosphere during daylight as appear at night. As and as is also there, and the comparison between appear and appear is also there. So this seems perfectly fine. Now let's have a look at the option choices. As appearing at night, no, this is wrong. We have appear over here, so it should be appear over here as well. Than appear, no, this is wrong because we need the word pair as and as. And we have than again in option choice D. So you can easily eliminate option choice C and D. And yes, our answer should be option choice A because it contains the word pair as and the comparison between appear and appear is also fine. Moving on to another interesting question. When steel magnate Andrew Carnegie purchased the land for his New York City house in 1898, he purposely bought property as far north as possible. Now this is pretty simple. We have a word pair question. As is used with as. So it should be option choice A, no change. The relatively spacious grounds were large enough for a terrace as well as a private garden, one of the few in Manhattan. Completed in 1901, the house had features more modern than any other house in New York City. Now this is interesting. So you need to see the comparison is between which things. Let's read the sentence again. Completed in 1901, the house had features. The house had features more modern than any other house in New York City. Now it sounds perfectly fine, but this is wrong comparison. Why? Because we are comparing features to a house, any other house. That's wrong. We should compare features to features and house to a house. So A is wrong. Now let's have a look at the option choices. Features more modern than, no, this is definitely wrong. It should be THAN. Option choice B is definitely wrong. And features more modern as that of, no, over here we need than, so C is also incorrect. Features more modern than those of, you see, this is the phrase that is basically making a comparison with features than those of any other house in the New York City. Those of basically represents to features. So that's why our answer should be option choice D. Moving on. It was also the first private residence in the United States to be built on a steel frame and one of the first in New York to have a passenger elevator. Furthermore, the house contained not only a central heating system plus an early form of air conditioning. Definitely wrong. Why? Because it's a word pair question, and with not only you use but also, not this word. A is wrong. We have but also only in option choice C, so you don't even need to look at the remaining options.